Competing at a combined weight of 405 pounds, they are the reigning, defending, undisputed Racing Dudes Triple Crown champions of the world, the Magic Mike Show.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 452, Mr. Somich.
Secretariat Bourbon. Huzzah!
Yeah, that looks super sexy, my friend. Very jealous of that. It looks very nice.
It's pretty nice. It's the Woodford Reserve for the Derby. Pre-ordered it. Got shipped to me today. It's a nice looking bottle. Over 2 weeks till the liquor is gone, though.
I'm impressed so I got one for the Derby 2 years ago, and because it was the day that my son was born, so I've kept that, and the goal is to keep that until his 21st birthday, and then we'll crack it open. So that's one I could hold on to. The Secretary one, that's more like you drink it and then you hold on to the bottle. Like we got those really nice ones from Kentucky Downs from our buddy Geis. Like that still sits up there, very proudly displayed behind me there. Very beautiful bottles there. And then, yeah, the Secretariat 50th anniversary. It's hard to believe, Mike. Just seems like it was yesterday. Secretariat was winning the Kentucky Derby. Yeah,
it's a cool. I actually really like this one. I've gotten a couple of them before, so I pre-ordered it like literally the day it came out. I pre-ordered online with got it shipped to me. It's gorgeous bottle. I like that they have the little Secretariat tag there. Got the silks all over it too. So they did a great job with this one. I've gotten a couple of these before. This is one of the few that I'm like definitely going to keep. And I got one for my dad as well, who doesn't listen to the show. Thanks, Dad. So he doesn't know that he's going to get one for his birthday.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a beautiful bottle. And use promo code dudes for, no, I'm just kidding. You can use promo code dudes for 10% off. Our friends at oghandicappers.net. Look good gambling while you're betting on the horses and NCAA basketball this weekend. Tons of gambling action still to come. And we'll be covering an interesting pick 5 this sequence, Mike. It's not solely at Fairgrounds, so you don't have to worry about the turf course there, which is nice. Instead, you got to worry about the synthetic course at Turfway Park because we've got 5 races, 3 from Fairgrounds on the dirt, 2 from Turfway Park on their synthetic. But there's going to be 2 Derby preps and 2 Oaks preps. And what's nice about this kind of one-off, Mike, is that it is a mandatory payout. It's also 15% takeout and a 50-cent base. So theoretically, we should have some pretty nice producing tickets here.
You definitely could. This is an interesting sequence. You've got a 5-horse race with the fillies here over at Fairgrounds. Who's your filly coming back? Allie's Looks in there. It's going to be an interesting race and kind of how you decide to attack that one. I ended up playing a press ticket here, so I'm just going to play a $5 ticket, $30 cost, because I'm going to go after this with a couple opinions I have here. I have a couple of these horses coming back that I'm high on. I specifically think are going to run really big in this spot, so I'm going to really shorten my ticket here. We'll talk, obviously, about all the different horses in the races and kind of where we would go if we did spread more. I know your ticket, rather cheap as well on the 50-cent side.
Yeah, and I took a couple shots here in spots. I was trying to find, maybe there was a long shot here or there that really kind of longer shot that caught my attention. That didn't happen so much in the Bourbonette Oaks. I still went 3 deep and it was a little chalky there, but there's a couple horses that are interesting. But yeah, a very interesting sequence here. And we both have singles. We're actually singling in the Fairgrounds Oaks and we're singling separate horses. It's only a 5-horse field. So it's kind of interesting that we had that. Only 5 fillies in that race, but there's at least 3 in there that we're very excited to see, and a 4th one that possibly could spring an upset. But let's get into things, Mike. The Bayou Bluegrass 5 on Saturday, March 25th at Fairgrounds and Turfway Park. Riders up. Chris Mael, not so happy about Providence's coach Ed Cooley leaving for Georgetown in the chat.
The comments on his, hey, I'm sorry I'm leaving, I love you guys, was hilarious. I mean, Providence fans just went off on him. It was amazing.
First leg of the Bayou Bluegrass 5, the Grade 2 New Orleans Classic. This is race 9 at Fairgrounds. We've got a field of 8 older males going to mile 8th on the dirt, including the return of the Pegasus World Cup champ Art Collector. Boy, he made us look like total fools in the Pegasus at a big odds, 15-1. He's 8-5 here. Are you going to be foolish and leave him off again?
No. Okay, so this was one of the reasons I'm playing a $5 ticket was specifically this race to start off the sequence. Okay, I was on Pioneer of Medina last time the horse won. held off Mr. Wireless. They're going a mile and an eighth versus a mile and 16th today. Don't really like either of those two horses. To me, this is a 2-horse race. They're 8-5 and 2-1. And so when you get it down to a 2-horse race, I've talked about this a lot. I'm going to single one of the two. I'm not going to use both of them. That single, combined with a couple other horses later in the sequence, forced my hand in my mind. The right way to play this is to play a press ticket, play a lot of times, and try and be right there in that specific instance. To me, when you look at West Willpower and Art Collector, it feels like Art Collector is just the better horse here. So I'm going to single the two in this spot. I'm going to swallow the 8-5. Not ecstatic about it, especially considering what the price was last time out. But that Pegasus has come back really strong after what we saw in California. Art Collector 8 for 10 at the distance. Second off a layoff here. Mott's been on fire. I'm not sold on West Willpower either. I just don't like the horses that West Willpower's beaten the last few. If I was going to take a crazy shot, it'd be like the 4 Trafalgar at like 30-1. But to me, Art Collector here is the class of this field. So I'm just going to single up the 2 to start off my $5 ticket.
Trafalgar would be a crazy shot. I'll go on record as saying that one. It's a 30-1 shot. Listen, Art Collector, and it's I feel stupid saying this because we weren't on him going into the Pegasus World Cup, and in hindsight, you're like, well, shit, the horse was 7 for 8 going 9 furlongs on dirt. Like, how could you not appreciate that? He's now 8 for 9 after winning the Pegasus World Cup. They kept him in training because the owner says he loves the game and he loves the competition, but also the horse is still just doing perfectly well. And who am I to say, well, no, he's not, because clearly I was wrong for the Pegasus. I did use him. I did use West Willpower here as well. I think he's perfectly spotted. 9 furlong race seems to be where he can use that early speed to his advantage. And we've seen that work well at Fairgrounds in the past, where if you get out to the early lead, it's very tough for horses to really close on you sometimes. He isn't in need the lead type. So if there is somebody that does beat him to the punch, he's got several races and wins on the page where he came from off. Flavien Prat and Brad Cox, 41% winners. That's why I ultimately was like, I got to use this horse. Like, Pratt's riding for Cox. And I know a lot of that is, with Wet Paint, for example, is a horse that Pratt rides a lot for Cox. But I used West Willpower. And then I also did use Pioneer Medina. He actually was my top pick in here. I went 8-2-3. But for me, Pioneer Medina, that Mineshaft Stakes win when didn't have him last time out, going to mile and 16th. He beat 2 of the horses that are in here, Mr. Wireless and Happy American. I like the Luis Saez as 2 for 3 riding this horse. Since he got aboard him, you can see that he also rode him in the Louisiana Derby last year. So, a horse that he did like in the past, ran a good second for a while, chasing Epicenter, and then just kind of fell off and finished 4th. But I think the horse has got potential. And, with this kind of where he's at in his form cycle, I think I'm going to use him. I think I'm going to get every bit of 9-2 as well on him. I think Art Collector is going to get a ton of money taken, and rightfully so. What odds do you think Art Collector ends up going off at? 6-5 evens?
I mean, that's the real question. And to me, it's how much money does West Willpower take, right? I mean, because West Willpower would be the reason you see Art Collector at 8-5, right? Is if West Willpower is around that 2-1 number. I think Art Collector should be around 6-5 in this race. I think you're going to get between 6-5 and 7-5.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're right. It's all about what kind of money is West Willpower going to take there. The heavy Brad Cox connections. Second leg of the Bayou Bluegrass 5, the Bourbonette Oaks, race 11 at Turfway Park, field of 11. 3-year-old fillies going a mile and 16th on the synthetic. 50 Kentucky Oaks points to the winner. Who'd you go with on top?
Man, this is, again, another reason why I feel like playing the $5 ticket is right here. Botanical looks really tough in here, right? Like that last race probably gets the job done. The race 2 back, you're going to need to improve off of, but there's no reason to think we're not going to rerun that last race. This horse has gotten better in all 3 synthetic starts. Could be the 4th start on synthetic here. Don't love its Landeros up. Don't love the 2-1 price, but there's just not a ton in this race. I mean, you could probably make a case for AG Bullet, Silver Bullet all the way on the outside. Hate that odds drop still. But I'm not sure I really want a horse who's going to try and go gate to wire in this field, because there's quite a few horses that want to be forwardly placed. So it seems like the 5 Botanical gets a dream trip here. Also is the best horse. You're sitting at 2-1. The 5 seems awfully tough in here. So I put Botanical on top.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you went too deep. I agree on the other horse that you used as well. I've been in love with this horse. Nick Feldman knows that. I've talked about her. We really you got her in the Kentucky Oaks future at 30-1. If she ends up winning this race, which I think she will, we both do. If she can somehow handle dirt, I think she is legitimately a serious threat for the Kentucky Oaks. She's going to have to show more improvement here But I think she absolutely has the ability to. That Cincinnati Trophy Stakes win, she wasn't even trying, wasn't even breathing hard when she got done. She can set the pace, she can press the pace, she can stalk it, whatever the break leads to for Chris Landeros. There is another Brad Cox horse in here, the 8 Flashy Gem, and I went 3 deep and I used her. She ended up being the last one on my ticket. I watched that replay of her win last out at Turfway Park in an allowance race. Man, she just looked so good, so impressive. And as she hit the stretch off the turn, she just kept extending. And I love the way that she was extending her lead there, going a mile. She's got plenty of speed to be in it from the start. It's a major step up in class. But if she can get to the lead, it's not guaranteed, but she gets an easy lead early. As good as Botanical is, I don't know that she can reel her in. Flashy Gem looked way too good in that last effort for me to leave her off.
Yeah, I kind of chucked all the speed here. I mean, AG Bullet is fast from the outside. Renegade Rebel is fast from the inside. Flashy Gem is probably going to want to go based off the previous races. The 3 of them should create enough of a pace tool here that I didn't want any of them. I do think the one Renegade Rebel is a little interesting at 6-1 if you're going to take any of the pace horses. But to me, there's enough speed signed on here that it's going to be hard for anyone to go gate to wire, especially I don't see anyone getting like a 24-second opening quarter, right? I don't see any breather at any point in this race. And that really sets it up for horses who are going to be able to sit off it or come from way back. And to me, that sets up for Botanical. And the other one I'm using, the 2-horse, Beau Levy, coming in first time in North America for Brendan Walsh. Irad picks up the mount. That definitely makes me feel a lot better about this horse. Ran a good second last time out to Brave Emperor overseas. That horse came back to win next time. 33% here, first time North America for Brendan Walsh. To me, it's kind of all systems go here. Really interesting placing that this is just where we decide to show up. I don't think this is a legitimate Oaks contender, but I think this is a very legitimate horse in this specific race over the synthetic.
Yeah, kind of funny how that worked out. Like, I wouldn't touch this horse for the Oaks, but she's got that synthetic form from overseas and against stakes company as well. So by the way, that she's only faced fillies once, and that was when she broke her maiden on debut. She's faced open company, including Brave Emperor, obviously a male, winning that stakes last out. So I used her as well. I think the fact that Irad showed up here was very intriguing. That he's in town to ride Major Dude, who we'll talk about in a little bit. But for this to be a mount that he picks up in this race, when there's a lot of trainers that he could have ridden for, that he has ridden for in the past, I just was very interesting. So yeah, I'm with you here. We're both agreeing 2-5. I threw in the 8 Flashy Gem as well. Mike, let's move on. Third leg of the Bayou Bluegrass 5 is the Grade 2 Fairgrounds Oaks, race 11 on the Fairgrounds card. Field of 5 3-year-old fillies going a mile and 16th on the dirt. 100 Kentucky Oaks points to the winner. We're both singling different horses. Talk to me about yours.
I mean, if you've watched the show, I'm singling Hoosier Filly here. I drew a line through the last one. I thought there was enough of an excuse there. I think she's the best filly in this crop. I love the fact that Pretty Mischievous is 8-5. I love the fact that the Alley's Look, who's 2-1. I wouldn't touch the Alley's Look with your money magic. So I'm excited to hear the case for her. But to me, Hoosier Filly's a standout here. And in a 5-horse field, you're going to see less trouble. You're going to see the better horse win more often. To me, that's Hoosier Filly. I'm willing to draw a line through the last one. Like I said, I love the price. I would be shocked if we get the 2-1 out of the gate. And if we do, I'm going to be back in the Briggs truck up.
Yeah, this is the case where I think how we both were approaching this race is you pick the horse you think is most likely to win and you single it. It's so hard to try and you can make a case for obviously Hoosier Filly, for the Alley's Look, for Pretty Mischievous, I think as well as a horse that you can that you can make a good case for. Christian Dioro, you could try and say she could go gate to wire, but she kind of spit the bit last couple times that she tried doing that. But that was a filly I looked at. As far as the Alley's Look, I think that she's going to be the horse that sits just behind Christian Dioro, and I think she gets first run at her. And if you go back and watch how she won the Silver Bullet Day Stakes, she didn't let anybody get by her. She had a lot of fight in her. Now it was Chop Chop, and Chop Chop came back to not do so well in the next spot. But just like with Instant Coffee, where this is the target since that race won back in January, this is where Cox has been targeting for the Alley's Look. And to me, that's a very important thing. I think Luis Saez is going to have eyes in the back of his head on the 3 and the 5. He will know where those horses are every single time they take a step. He's going to know where they're at and keep them behind him. And because of that fight that she showed, expecting improvement here in her second start as a 3-year-old, best jockey in the race is a border. I'm going to roll with the Alley's Look.
Yeah, I just can't. I mean, I have absolutely no respect for Chop Chop. I think that was one of the more overrated fillies we saw coming through this class after what we saw, not only at the Breeders' scratch out the Breeders' Cup, not only in the last race, but 2 races back when she wasn't able to get the job done. I mean, Chop Chop had every chance to win the last 2 races she was in and just didn't. And so if I don't think Chop Chop's very, very good, then the Alley's Look falls off for me, because that's really the race that you're pointing to say, yeah, this is a good horse, is that Silver Bullet Day. I don't think it was a very good Silver Bullet Day. And so for me, I'm willing to just say, okay, I'm not even going to try it with the Alley's Look. I realize she ran 3 lengths behind Pretty Mischievous the race prior to that. But like, that was just a jump up out of nowhere from a buyer number and a time form number in that Silver Bullet Day. I'm not willing to swallow any type of short price in the Alley's Look. I honestly think she should be like 5-1 in this field. And I don't think you're going to get anywhere near that.
Ooh, okay. All right.
I'm clearly the 3rd best horse in my mind. Clearly.
Any chance at all for the 1 South Lawn or the 2 Christian Dior? You were kind of shaking your head when I was talking about her possibly going gate to wire.
If I made a case, it would be for the 1 South Lawn. I'm not going to try to make a case, though. I mean, to me, that would be the better horse of the 2 to try and play. The problem is that like Pretty Mischievous, the Alley's Look, and Hoosier Philly all have some speed, as does South Lawn. So I find it hard to believe that Christian Dior is going to be able to go gate to wire for Asmussen. We've at least seen the 1 South Lawn pass horses before. You know, I'm a Relu fanboy. Love him when he's riding a horse. He's getting back aboard here after a nice 8-length victory. Second off the layoff for Norm Cassie, he's 20%. If I was going to make a case for a long shot, it would be the 1. I actually have the 1. Yeah, like, depending how you wanted to play this. If you were going to play a 50 center here, I'd be using the 5 and the 1. I just simply because I want somewhat of a price, and I think my personal opinion is the 5 covers the 3 and the 4. And so if I think Hoosier Philly is better than the 3 and the 4, the 1 is a price. That would be the other horse I would try and include here to try and balloon this up, because if you do get the 1 or the 2, this is how you blow up that pick 5. There's going to be very few tickets running through the 1 and the 2 here.
Let's move on to the penultimate leg of the Bayou Bluegrass 5. This is the Grade 3 Jeff Ruby Stakes, race 12 at Turfway Park, field of how many do we have here? 12 3-year-olds. I forgot to write it down. 12 3-year-olds going a mile and 1/8 on the synthetic. 100 Kentucky Derby points to the winner. Remember, this race produced last year's Kentucky Derby winner, Rich Strike, who finished not first. So, hooray. Where are you going on top?
Well, I'm going to go with the best turf horse on top. Look, we saw what Congruent did when Congruent came to Turfway Park, right? Well, Major Dude made Congruent look silly at Gulfstream. So I'm going to put Major Dude on top here. Pletcher's setting this horse in. IRAD coming into ride tells you everything you should need to know. I don't mind the post at all from that 1 spot. I think that Major Dude has a very good shot at getting a nice trip here, being able to stalk. I have no issue around the distance at a mile and 1/8. Son of Bolt Oro has just been solid. I mean, ran second to Candidate, 2 back, first off the layoff, came back, won that Grade 3, got the revenge on Candidate. Now we're jumping into a spot that makes a ton of sense. Probably just needs to run back to those turf races to be able to win this race. Doesn't need to take very big of a step forward. So for me, the 1 horse is a deserving favorite here at 5-2. And you can tell why I'm playing a $5 ticket, because it's just not that creative at this point. And that's when I'm definitely going to be pressing through and not trying to spread around and hope that my opinions are just right.
Yeah, I went 2 deep here. You actually went 3 deep, but we agreed on the same horses. Major Dude, if that turf form transfers over, he's going to be super tough. Even if our boy that we claimed in the fantasy league, number 4, Fantastic again, I picked him here because I think if he gets a comfortable lead, he's gone. They're not going to be able to catch him in this spot. You look at how he ran in the Leonidas Stakes, and the race before that, both times going a mile here, just super impressive. Once he gets off the turn and starts extending that lead, he looks so great there. A horse that Wesley Ward, broke the maiden on dirt at Saratoga after an early duel, so he was able to handle that. You scratch off the terrible trip that he got from Rosario in the Breeders' Futurity. Switch to Turfway Synthetic, 2 straight bangers. He's been off since January, but a big reason is because the Battaglia is only 3 weeks before this race, and that's the local prep for this race. They wanted more time in between. The fact that this horse's dam is, the sire Fantastic, the dam is related to Gun Runner. He is a half brother to St. Liam, who was a horse of the year and sired Harvey de Grace in his only crop. Like, there's a lot of breeding to say this horse should love the distance. It's just a matter of if he is talented enough, Mike.
Yeah, and what the pace ends up being as well. I mean, you mentioned if he gets loose, he's very dangerous, and I agree with you on that spot. If he gets loose, he is extremely dangerous. However, Maker's Candy may make it hard for him to get loose, as well as the 11-horse Worthington, who both will probably be Wadsworth, not Worthington, think of a different horse. Both will probably be forwardly placed. Wadsworth 2 back went gate to wire to break the maiden going a mile at Turfway. Last time out, missed the break and came from off the pace. So I would assume that you're going to see more of the speed than you will the off the pace effort from Wadsworth, the 11. But I do like fun tasking it again, and don't necessarily think the horse needs to be loose to be able to win. I think that he can come from just off it if he has to. However, going gate to wire obviously would be the best possible scenario for here. And I would be surprised, being the inside speed, if that is not the plan here. If we can get to that first turn first, then be able to float out the other speed, get a nice length cushion, they slow it down a little bit, it will make Funtastic, again, very interesting on the front end.
Talk to me about the third horse you used here, number 10, Two Phils. By the way, the previews for this and the Bourbonette Oaks are both up at youtube.com/racing dudes. Vinny from Real Picks by Dynasty did the previews for those races for us, so you can go get his picks. He also liked Two Phils, though admittedly he also has Two Phils on his fantasy league, but you don't. You're unbiased. Why do you like him?
I am unbiased. I thought Two Phils ran the best Risen Star of any horse in the Risen Star. We talked about that when we were on the live stream there. Two Phils attended the pace. Everyone else who attended the pace absolutely quit out. Made a move around the far turn, made it a little bit interesting. Looked like he might actually win the race. Ends up running, I believe it was third in that spot, behind Angel of Empire and Sun Thunder. I think this horse is going to transition well to synthetic. I like the fact that Ravelli puts this horse on synthetic. Ravelli, 29% synthetic trainer, so he knows what he's looking for when looking for horses that transition well. And just sheerly from a class perspective, the two horses that have the most class in this race are the one who's your favorite, who got it all on turf, and Two Phils, who has been running against Instant Coffee, who may be one of the top 5 choices right now in the Kentucky Derby, somewhere in that range. So it's not like Two Phils has been running against nothing down at Fairgrounds. Now he's coming up to a synthetic track, hard spun on synthetic, not bad. Ravelli on synthetic, very good, and should get a decent trip here as well. Has shown the ability to sit close to this pace, but then close into it. I expect that he's going to sit 5th, maybe 6th, get a decent trip here and make a big run. I wouldn't be shocked if Two Phils wins this race. And so I didn't want to leave him off the ticket, especially when I'm pressing like this on a $5 spot.
Yeah, Michael brings up a great point. Larry Ravelli, the trainer, plenty of experience training all-weather winners. He's a successful winning trainer at Arlington, very successful. So I would have wanted a little bit better price to use him, but not going to knock anybody for using him in this spot, partially because of the way my ticket is structured, right? I'm a little chalky in spots. Let's move on, Mike. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're flying through this. So let's go back to that last one real quick, because there's a bunch of different horses there. So did you consider Wadsworth at all? Because I was scared of this 11 horse.
A little bit. I thought it was a bit too much of a step up in class. Plus, you've got, the 11 post all the way outside. But he's getting Landeros, who rides Botanical for Brad Cox, rides a lot of good horses for Brad Cox. So I considered, I didn't use, but it is a little, at a price especially, is intriguing.
And then I feel like we got to talk at least a little about Point Proven all the way on the outside. Ran pretty disappointing the last 2 races. But it's interesting that Pletcher shows up with this horse here with the favorite Major Dude as well. Did you consider Point Proven at all?
Man, Point Proven is just kind of, proven his point about what kind of a horse he is, for lack of a better term. I couldn't pull the trigger on him, but is something that you were interested in?
I just think it's interesting he shows up here. I mean, if this to me is one of these spread races, if you're going to take a swing somewhere in this sequence, I think you can make a case for the 12. I think you can make a case for the 7 Bluebirds over if you wanted to. The 11 Wadsworth, a little interesting. If you're going to spread out anywhere, to me, this is one of those logical spread races. If you don't like the inside horse Major Dude, I mean, that to me is the key here, because if you're on Major Dude, you don't want to go crazy spreading, especially if you're using Two Phils as well. But this could produce a price here. And we haven't even mentioned Congruent, who won the prep for this race.
Yeah, that race completely collapsed. The Battaglia was like a mess of a race. There were 2 or 3 different leaders at one point during the stretch. Not interested in Congruent, especially not at that price. And I'm not interested enough in Wadsworth, because I also wasn't interested in Scooby Dooby douchebag, Scooby Quando up there, number 2, who was second to him. Scooby Quando can hit the board. The 11 can hit the board, but I don't think they're good enough to win.
Okay. All right. You just poo-pooing all these horses. So you think this is just an open and shut case, huh?
I went too deep for a reason, Michael.
All right. Well, good job, Curtis.
Boy, more hard-hitting questions coming at you here for the Louisiana Derby preview, the 5th and final leg of the Bayou Bluegrass 5. We'll see if Mike thinks that, boy, did you single a horse here because you loved that horse or just because you were drunk? We'll find out. Race 12 at Fairgrounds, field of, what do we got here? See, I'm still drunk too. A field of 12 3-year-olds again in this spot. 1 mile and 3/16 on the dirt, 100 points for the Kentucky Derby to the winner. Trainer Brad Cox has won all 3 previous Derby preps at Fairgrounds. He's entered 3 horses to complete the Grand Slam, including 2 that have won here. Where'd you go on top?
Again, if you watch the show, you know I'm going to 2 Instant Coffee on top. And it's another reason why I'm playing a $5 ticket here, because Instant Coffee is 2-1. And Instant Coffee is the best horse in this field, period. End of discussion. There are other horses who could jump up and snap Instant Coffee off here. Don't get me wrong. You could make a case in my mind for 3 or 4 of the others. I really am not a Kingsbarn guy. I know there's a ton of people who like Kingsbarn out there and are really excited about this horse at 6-1. I'm just not one of them. I wasn't impressed in the maiden breaking score. I didn't think it was that great of a win at Tampa Bay. The horse who ran second, Mikey's Bananas, sucks, absolutely sucks. Go look at his past performances. So for me, this is a huge step up in class for Kingsbarn, which is going to be one of the heavily played horses. But Instant Coffee just is consistent and runs that same race every time. It's not flashy. It's not amazing. You're not blown away by him, but he just keeps winning and just keeps running that race. I don't see any reason he doesn't just keep running that race in here. You got a couple new shooters. We'll talk about them. The 1, the 5, the 3, I guess not a new shooter, but coming back. The 7, Cagliostro, could definitely pull it off as well. But Instant Coffee is the best horse in this race. And if I'm pressing through because of what the earlier legs are in the sequence, then I'm singling Instant Coffee here. Now, if I was spreading in other spots, this may be one where I'm okay, I'm interested in the 1, 2, 3 versus just taking the 2 for a 50-cent ticket. But in a $5 ticket, I'm not going to go crazy here and try and beat Instant Coffee when I think he's the best horse.
Yep, most proven horse in the field. Multiple horses he's beaten and come back to win in Derby preps. No argument against using him here. Size is a board. Size knows how to get this horse home. I went 4 deep though, and I was trying to find a couple of prices. I really think the 5 Disarm is going to run a much improved race, a career best race. Is it good enough to beat Instant Coffee? We'll find out. But remember, he had one of the most talked about maiden wins all summer long at Saratoga. Something clearly goes wrong. He misses 197 days. But, he returned with some rust, finished second in allowance win. Asmussen admitted the horse was rusty there. So, you got that to worry about. But the winner of that race, 2 Eagles River, got it right this time, Aaron, already stakes place, going to the Arkansas Derby next. Bred to love going this distance and handling 2 turns and all that stuff. And I think second off the layoff, he's sitting on a huge effort here. But I get 10-1. I don't know if I'm going to get 10-1 because I feel like he's starting to get that wise guy hype, Mike. And that always worries me. That always turns me off of a horse.
Yeah, one of these 2 Asmussens is going to get bet. Either the 1 or the 5 is going to be bet down pretty aggressively from the morning lines. The 1 Shopper's Revenge, 12-1. The 5 Disarm, 10-1. I think it's the 5. You mentioned that maiden breaker at Saratoga. Everybody saw that race. Everyone was talking about that race. It came back. It didn't break well last time, and so you assume if he gets out of the gate better on Saturday, you're going to get an improved effort here. The big question, like you said, is he going to improve enough to be able to beat someone like Instant Coffee, who has consistently showed us what race you're going to get out of him? And that one is the one that needs to be answered. It's why it's sitting on the board at 10-1. I think this is the horse that gets bet down of the 2, though. I think you're probably getting 5 or 6-1 out of the gate on Disarm. I think Kingsbarn is probably closer to 7-2. I honestly don't think Instant Coffee gets bet off the board here because Instant Coffee is just not sexy. There's nothing sexy about Instant Coffee's races when you watch them back. You're just okay. And then you see the buyer numbers. They're not towering over this field. It's just you get that A- effort every single time from him. And I'm not sure that anyone in this field is good enough to beat that.
Yeah, it's true. And you're right. There's nothing sexy about Instant Coffee in the morning when you're out of the good stuff too. It's Instant Coffee. But hey, you take it in a pinch. It's better than nothing. I did use Kingsbarns. I think that he might, if he's not the most likely leader right away, I think he's going to sit close to the pace and get first jump. He'll definitely get the first jump on somebody like an Instant Coffee, which I think is big for him. And then I also like to use Tappett's Conquest because, again, getting 10-1 on this horse if he runs. Now there's a question about whether or not he's going to run here. There's some rumor he might go to the Wood Memorial. I haven't been able to verify it. If you have a verifiable source out there, anybody who's listening, let us know if you think where that's going to happen. But, the effort from the allowance to the Risen Star, much improved that we saw from him. It almost felt like going into the Risen Star. Cox thought this might be the horse he'd win the Risen Star with, right? Then Angel of Empire wins. And he said afterwards, he's I didn't expect that. I don't know where that came from. Oh, that's great. But now we're 3rd off the layoff, 3rd start at age 3. Manny Franco back in the saddle, rode him on debut at Saratoga when he had that really nice second. If he runs, I think at 10-1, there's a lot of value in taking this horse for a Brad Cox barn that's been winning Derby preps all over the place.
Yeah, hard pass for me. If Tappett's Conquest couldn't get the job done last time when that race collapsed and set up for him to win, and it really looked like he should have won the race coming down the middle of that track, I'm not willing to try and take him here, where I think this field's actually better than the one that he faced last time in the Risen Star. I'm a little interested in Curly Jack. Like if I was spreading here, the 3 would be the first horse I'd be spreading with. We talked about Curly Jack's trip to back. It was brutal in the Kentucky Jockey Club. If you go back and watch that, may have been better than Instant Coffee that day. Was trapped on the rail, couldn't get through, got bounced around, finally got some space, ended up running up for second there. Comes back in the Risen Star, a little too close to the pace, a little too much of an ask first off the layoff, especially going 1 1/8 miles. But I like the fact that the connection stuck with it. Now we're moving forward here to this 1 3/16 race. I don't think the distance is any issue for Curly Jack. I think it was just simply the pace and the layoff that cost him last time. I would expect a lot better effort from the 3 Curly Jack on Saturday. So that would be one I'd be using if I was spreading around in here.
You know what? If he ends up scratching, I'm looking at this. That's probably who I'll end up filling in for too. If he does end up going to the wood, I think Curly Jack is the one to use as well. I'll admit, Edgar Morales continuing to be aboard is kind of what's turned me off of this horse a little bit. I'm not sure if something goes wrong in a race, like you saw with Hoosier Philly last time out. He's not a jockey like say Asai is. It's going to, or an IRAD is going to just jump that horse right back in and make sure we still get the best chance possible to win. So I'll go ahead and I'll use Curly Jack underneath as well there. But a very interesting field and a very interesting sequence here. Oh. Well, there we go. We'll close out of that one too. That's going to get all super.
What's up, Aaron?
A kaleidoscope here. That was crazy. Anyway, that's going to be it for the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I to talk about the Bayou Bluegrass 5. I had fun making the graphic for that, but boy, what a mouthful. It is a 50-cent minimum. It is a 15% takeout, and it is a mandatory payout. So with all the money that goes in, it's all coming back out to the players. Minus 15%. But make sure, if you were interested, make sure you put that in the comments below if you're playing. We'll give out our tickets one last time. I'll start. I'm going to go 2-3-8 with 2-5-8, single the 4, then go 1-4, and then 2-5-6-9 to end things here for $36. Mr. Somich.
I'm going to play a $5 ticket here. I'm going to go 2 with 5-2, with 5, with 1-4-10, with 2 for $5. That'll cost you $30. And I got to ask you a question, Magic. What do you have to do after this?
Was I rushing?
I think this is the fastest you've ever talked in an episode. And just flying through some of those races as well.
I'm sorry. Would you like to go back and talk some more about some of these races? I just thought that we covered things. We had very similar horses that we liked. Did you want to waste the people's time?
I'm good, man. I'm just wondering where the fire is. I didn't know if it's like you got a hot date night tonight, or maybe the babysitter's only staying until about 3:30 or something. I didn't know what the goal was here.
I wish any of those things were true. No, it just.
I mean, look at that. Yeah, see, it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me.
I am so sorry. You know what? Let's go here. We'll pull back. I'm going to pull back up the fields. Tell you what, let's talk about the Dubai World Cup for half an hour. I think that's what everybody's going to. Oh, wait, no, they're going to do that next show. Let's talk about what else can we talk about for half an hour here? I got nothing. I think we did a phenomenal job covering this. I'm going to hit the sucker on a $5 ticket, so I'm not worried about that. I just thought it was hilarious how fast you're talking there. I didn't even realize. Was I speaking too fast? Was it too fast to where the information was unintelligible more than usual?
No, it was fine. It was just very quick pace. That's all.
That is such a believable answer.
I felt like we were running a 5 furlong.
It was Jesse. Do not come in. This is the wrong show to have wrong Saved by the Bell information. We'll both.
Yeah, no, that was Jesse. That was we can't say Kelly there. Do not talk ill about Kelly Kapowski. That won't get you anywhere here.
No. All right, games tonight. What's going on tonight? What's happening in sports ball?
Sports ball has some college basketball games that people seem to care about here. We got 4 Sweet 16 games. The one that kicks off the tournament here for today, at least, is Kansas State and Michigan State. Michigan State laying 1 right now. Magic, do you have any opinion here on this game?
Go Spartans.
Yeah, they're going to lose. Kansas State. I'm giving Kansas State on the money line. It's a great setup for Kansas State. Michigan State likes to play in a half court. Kansas State, very good half court defensively. I think Michigan State's going to have a hard time scoring. I took the under in the first half. I took Kansas State. Arkansas, UConn, I think, is a wildly difficult game. I mean, that one's just really, really tough. Right now, Arkansas catching 4 against UConn. Went down to 3.5 today. A bunch of Arkansas money came in. That one's in Vegas. Should be just phenomenal. Did you have any thoughts on that one, Magic?
All I care about is UCLA. Go UCLA. The rest of these games, they're just filler until we get to UCLA.
That's going to be the game of the night. I mean, it's a shame that that's a Sweet 16 game. That could easily be a Final Four game. Both of those teams, phenomenal. UCLA's injuries are my biggest concern here. They're out. The number one defensive rated player in the country's out. He's going to hurt them, especially against the number one most efficient offense in the country, Gonzaga. I'll take Gonzaga money line, but I think it's going to be a thriller.
UCLA.
I got one question for you, Magic.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the Racing Dudes bracket pool recently?
I looked yesterday, and I actually was like 18th. You were very high as well. You're sixth.
Sixth, baby.
Right.
Sitting there sixth. 96.8 percentile. We're coming for it, baby. I'm telling you, Aaron's sending me that swag bag. It's coming.
I did notice Jace, not anywhere near the top.
No.
None
Jace,
of those 25 entries.
Performance from those 25 entries.
Must have had a lot of Arizona winners in those entries.
Looks like
Purdue.
Alex
Probably
Herrera.
had Purdue going.
Alex Herrera in first. Aaron Mattingly second. I'm guessing it's Drake Rogers sitting in third right now. Shoddy up there.
Shoddy's doing great. Speaking of the Racing Dudes, head over there for the full preview for the Louisiana Derby from Aaron Halterman. Jeff Ruby Stakes is a preview is up there. The Blinkers Off will be live in about 22 minutes, I'm guessing. They'll be live with that. And I have good. No, not going to be live. Okay, they'll be live at some point talking Dubai and Kentucky Derby prep picks. Also, big news. The Racing Dudes guide, the inside track to the Louisiana Derby wagering guide, sounds like it's actually going to be available to come out later tonight for production. So either tonight or early tomorrow, Friday morning. So thank you for your patience, everybody, for waiting for those ones. And then don't forget Sunday, we got the Sunland Park Derby, Sunland Park Oaks. Mike Somich, I know you're super excited about that.
I can't wait, man. I'm about to do the previews for both of those now that I got a little time before I gotta go on my date night.
Oh, that's right, date night. And then you've also got Las Vegas this weekend. Oh, that's a big deal for you as well, buddy.
Yeah, excited. Going to be doing a show for VSiN tomorrow, Sharp Money from 2 to 3. If you got VSiN, check that out. And I'll be hosting the Handle on Sunday morning from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. So if you're sports betting, make sure you check out VSiN Sunday morning.
Boom. There you go. Check that out and follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18. Number 1, number 8, corporate overlords at racing_dudes. Again, no comment. OGhandicappers.net. Go there. You can get all of the great apparel to look great gambling. Use promo code DUDES, DUDES, for 10% off everything site-wide. Yeah, it's been a fun show. Sorry, I will make sure that I go a much slower pace. Maybe I'll bring back – how about we bring back the best thing I saw segments? Those are always ways to really draw shit out too.
Yeah, that was a great way to just burn some time. Best thing I saw, baby. We're going back to the Secretariat bottle. Come on.
Boom, there we go. That's called a callback. We'll be back Friday and remember Wednesday through Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Dudes who bet daily for free picks, best bets for the sports and horse racing world. Make sure you get everybody's top picks for the NCAA tournament. I know Aaron and Papa Dude and Mike are watching that all very closely. So tune in for those. And then Mike and I will be back on Monday with a jam-packed Magic Mike show with all of the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks updates. But until then, also forgot one last thing. Sorry, I'm really bad at plugging right now. Live show Saturday. Mike won't be around for it, but Aaron and I, and maybe a special guest or two, we will be covering all 4 Fairgrounds and Turfway Park preps for the Derby and for the Oaks. So 2:30 to 4 Pacific. That is going to be 5:30 to 7 for the East Coasters there. And hopefully Fairgrounds has the light bill paid this time so we can actually see the finishes to some of the big races. But until Monday, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week, everybody.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.